This is Borderlands Game of the Year Edition. We're on the Nintendo Switch. This is available as part of the Legacy Collection or as a standalone release. Now, I really do love this title. It was just such a, enticing and interesting experience when I first jumped into it so many years ago. So I've played that version, and then later on, the last year, I played this on the Xbox, and now it's great to see it available here on the Switch in order to start off your journey into the Borderlands correctly. So this is the first game. It's definitely worth trying out to kind of kickstart your adventures, quite honestly, because it still has great characters, a great narrative, interesting enemies, and just such an interesting, unique, dynamic story and adventure that you kind of go on as you level up your various characters. You can have multiple characters, and you can have different classes. It contains all of the DLC content that was released for the game over time, and yeah, it's just a really well done, complete experience. And this port of the game actually looks really good. I mean, it's quite sharp, the textures look smooth, it's got high quality visuals, and I think the cel shaded visual style and aesthetic really does help lead into that further. It is a little bit more jagged around the edges than the other Borderlands titles, but I think that's just due to the the higher res kind of textures at play here that they kind of introduced when they did upgrade this game. I think it does look fantastic, and the performance has also been really good. So multiplayer, it seems to be a little bit more dippy in terms of performance, but I think that has to do more with the lag as opposed to something to do with like the game's actual performance. So in the game, you're going around on this world of Pandora. You're a vault hunter out there to find the secrets of the vault. You can do this kind of alone if you want to play by yourself, or you can enjoy a multiplayer experience. So I'm a little out of my level here with these guys, but yeah, you level up, you go to different areas, you fight off different creatures, and you make your way through the Borderlands experience. It's very well done. It's a great game for its time, and I think it's even great today. It's still very entertaining and unique. So with that, you can see my character class there. We're gonna kind of get back here, and we're gonna open up the menu so you can see our character here, our level. Then you get a bunch of different equipment. So you have things such as shields, grenades, and class mods. And keeping in mind, if you're playing the other Borderlands titles, that this one is a bit more basic because it was the original game, and everything from there is kind of blown up from this point. Then you level up, you get your skill tree. There are some customization options for your character too. Obviously, you got quests, and then finally we've got like the general map, as you could see, of the areas, and then there's tons of different areas. So the worlds aren't quite as large as they are in the later Borderlands games, but they're still pretty big for the time. They were very large on the console platform, and they worked very effectively in what they were providing. So this is a funny game. It's a quirky game. It's got some hilarious attitudes to it, weird combat styles, intense combat, and it just continues to delight even now as you play around, complete quests, and again, doing this alone or with other people, which is always nice. So the game does have quite a big scope to it, and then going over the DLC content, they have added, well, they did add at the time a lot of extra things you could do. Those adventures were a lot of fun. They definitely played and kind of fine-tuned the experience a little bit further, and it does lead forward towards the next entry in the series, and I do suggest getting in on this one and then playing them that way, because this is such a great release and such a fun one. You go in here and you just loot for days trying to get new weapons and new tools, and then exploring these large areas. There's so many main quests. The main game is quite long, and then on top of that you have all of these side missions you could do, side objectives, and there's just like quite a lot of content to it. And the good news is Jeff definitely running smooth even in the vehicle format, because this is usually where the other versions of the game would chug along a little bit, was in regards to vehicle usage in this one. But it is, again, a lot simpler. So if you're going back from having played Borderlands 2, or I suppose the pre-sequel, or even the third one, depending on the platform you're on, you are going to notice that some of the mechanics and stuff are a lot more basic, and they've just generally polished and fine-tuned the experience over every release, like most franchises do. And I think this one has actually done a great job in, you know, kind of working on those mechanics, advancing them in good ways, and doing new things with them. But yeah, coming back for this like remastered effort of the original, they largely kept the experience the same. They did add a thing or two here, like the gold key chests, but for the most part, this is that iconic experience. This is that first adventure, learning the Fable world of the vault, trying to find the vault, and understanding the mystery surrounding that vault. You had an interesting guidance. You see the lady on the top there. This is where you meet all of those great iconic characters that are so well developed as the game goes on. Such a great and like varied cast that's present in this one. It's really is generally just a great game with such unique classes, characters, and ways to advance as you keep on looting and trying to find more things. You know, it's got all of the good little stuff. We get these bounties. Difficulty impossible. No, with a higher level guy. So things do also scale as well in the game. So keep that in mind. I don't know if I'm supposed to be like gathering somebody here. I guess I should just grab these. Like this isn't even my like playthrough, as to say, because I just joined an online session so I could show off the multiplayer. I also want to quickly showcase some of the Switch specific things, just in regards to the settings. Again, we're having, like the other Borderlands titles, we have motion controls. If you want to have those, you can turn them on in the menu. So that's a nice option to have, because I know some people enjoy them. I personally don't, but you know, all to their own. It's just like a really wacky, over-the-top sort of game that doesn't hold back, and you're going to see that immediately from the start when the opening sequence kind of goes off. The cinematic's always a great way to kick this off as you level up. So yeah, it's just generally a really big and great game. It still holds up well. There's so many unique locations you can visit. You can do this on foot. Sometimes you get to use a vehicle to travel around, like you're seeing some of these guys are. And that depends on the type of area you're in and what you're doing, you know, your goals. Always leveling and kind of filling out your skill trees, with every character having their own skill tree to kind of work up. And yeah, this might seem a little bit archaic if you are playing like the second one or the later ones and coming back to this, because it is like such a down to basics kind of game. But I think they've done a really good job with the port here. I'm more than pleased with what they were able to provide with this release, because it is the full package, you know, all that content with some slight tweaks for the Switch. And I don't think they really cut down on anything that makes up this game. It's the experience is all here, and it's all ready to go. Really, did I just get knocked off that edge? That's not good. I don't want to be down here in the water. Wow, they actually botched that jump. That's kind of sad. I do, again, like with the other Borderlands titles, find that the Switch Joy-Cons are a little bit more difficult to kind of aim and stuff with. But this one seems a little bit better fine-tuned, almost, which is weird. Just in regards to being able to, like, get that accuracy and aim going on again. Oh yeah, for second wins, if you're used to those two, you can't move around in this one. You are locked, because this was the OG title in that regard. It is easy to matchmake with others. You either just, you know, kind of set your world to be somewhere where other people can join, or you can go online and you can just quick matchmake, or you can specifically search for other people. Those options are all present here. Oh wow, an Elder Skag. That's not good. Go get them, turret. Even though they are impossibly overleveled compared to me. What is this guy doing? Jeez, we gotta get more leveled up. Actually kind of, I guess, level boosting to some degree. A little bit easier to do that in this one. But you get all the fine-tuned upgrades that the remastered release brought. And it's great to see that they were actually able to make that, you know, work on the Switch version of the game. Because I really didn't anticipate that we would see this, you know, this collection available here. Oh, jeez, did he kill himself? And to see it running, you know, as well as this one does. What are these guys doing here? Just kind of, it's funny because, you know, they're just seemingly like messing around in that with the vehicles. So you can kind of do that too. You can just fool around. You don't have to be on point with your questing. It would be easier to have my higher level character, because I actually forgot, you know, there is like a little bit of a difficulty kind of curve as you start on this one. You gotta kind of get your character leveled, you gotta grind it out a bit, and then once you're going, you're smooth sailing. It is like really best enjoyed when you are with other people playing the game, you know, running around, driving around, facing the various enemies. I also liked how the story wasn't necessarily like some overarching thing. You had a goal, but you don't really necessarily have... It's more like pockets of little villains and bad guys that you experience across the landscape of Pandora. You know, the weird people you face off against, the humor and stuff holds up very well in that regard. And it's just generally a really enjoyable time. And it's great looking on here. They've done a good job on the overall collection. So again, you can get this as a standalone release, just this first game if you want to play it, or you get the overall collection and enjoy them all together. I think it's good to start here and then move forward, but you could go right into the second Borderlands, I guess, if you wanted. But yeah. Anyways, that's Borderlands Game of the Year Edition, the first one where it all started out. And yeah, Claptrap is dancing and still having a good time.